Welcome back to the episode 2 of our IB Psychology 2027 IEA Breakdown series. In episode 1, we tackled criteria A and fixed the literature linking trap. Today, we are diving deep into criterion B, data and methodology. On screen right now, you can see my presentation, but I will be shifting a lot of screens in between. And here we are going to look into a draft of observational study from an high school cafeteria that is related to excess of food abuse. So, in this particular thing, the examiner awarded this particular section B 5 out of 6. Now, before that, I will be shifting my screen. I would like to burst a myth where both teachers and students usually lose marks. Many people assume criteria B is divided into three subsections: 2 marks per methodology, 2 marks per ethics, and 2 marks per procedure. This is not the way IB examiner mark your paper. IB uses best fit holistic approach. IB uses best fit holistic approach for marking. The examiner read the entire methodology, ask does this overall fit into 5 or 6 band descriptor or 4 or 3 or 4 band descriptor. For this paper, the examiner placed into 5 and 6 band, but gave it 5 instead of 6 because while the method was strong, the procedure lacked details and the ethics were slightly generic. So today I'm going to show you what made this paper hit the top band and exact tweaks needed to push it to perfect 6. So remember, best fit approach. So before I start the actual marking of methodology, I would like to read the research question. So we all will be on the same pace. The in previous episode 1 we did introduction, and now we are doing the section methodology, but I'm reading out to the research question, so it will help you in processing the entire thing. What factors may contribute to overeating among students in a high school all you can eat is buffet? It's an observational study. I repeat, it's an observational study. So the research question is strong, and now we are going to see how methodological section work. So if you see, I am directly going towards methodology, and we have to read methodology once line by line to understand what a student has done exceptionally brilliant and where a student can improve. So let's start with what this student did exceptionally well. Look at how they justify using a covert naturalistic observation. Notice how they don't just drop psychological buzzword. Look at the sentences right here. A covert naturalistic observation has high ecological validity. The student said that it is covert observation, and where in the same place the student said it has high ecological validity. And it is not just throwing a psychological word, but rather showing the implication of that particular topic. If they stopped there, they would have lost mark. But look at what they write immediately after that, meaning that it showed typical eating habits as students are eating in their normal cafeteria. So if you see in this particular document, I have highlighted that where the student has done wonderful and where the student has used a very smart tactic to highlight what went into it and how it influenced the particular research. So, a covert naturalistic observation has high ecological validity. In the normal environment, that this is a real world setting, the student knew that they were being watched. This is a textbook example of justification. They states that the concept and then immediately explain why it applies to their specific setting. Next, look at how this they explain demand characteristics. Demand characteristics. So instead of giving generic definition of from textbook, the student connect it to real world setting, what was happening in the cafeteria, and directly to the variable. If student knew they were being watched, there is high possibility that their behavior would have been in their normal environment without influencing their behavior. If a student knew they were being watched, they might change how they eat, what they chose, or what they sit with, and which would introduce participant reactivity. So the student did not just say what is demand characteristics, what is rather shown demand characteristics and how it was controlled. This is why the examiner awarded top band credit for the method. The student proved why covert observation was necessary for studying overeating behavior. Thank you. So why did this paper get 5 instead of 6? Let's look into procedure which the examiner describes as lacking detail. Take a look to a paragraph where student mentioned using a checklist in appendix 1. I will be shifting screens and I will be going to the exact document where the student talks about that how they will be shifting or using certain criterions, and so it will exemplify. Here it is. So I am on the checklist will be include items such as whether the student is eating alone or group size. The student highlighted, or this particular student highlighted, that how students are being fed or how students are eating. And these all things showcases that how this particular situation observational study has been implemented. On a surface level this sounds fine, but as an IB research proposal, the key procedure details are missing. For example, the student did not talk about observational buyer, inter-rater reliability, that the mentioned training of the IT terms and checklist and things like that. They did not operationalize how exactly are they being observed estimated calories without interruption or weighing the food. Straight, they will determine appropriate calories without explaining the estimation formula in the procedure. The third is table assignment mechanism. They state observers are randomly assigned to each day, but they did not briefly state the mechanism. They did not say how. For example, in the previous IAS, we used to talk about they were divided in group. How? What techniques they have seen, they have followed to divide participant into group. Here they said that there was certain thing they were randomly assigned each day, but what technique they have used. For example, drawing numbers, had this is the same thing which we used to do in previous IEs, random participant list generator or something like that. Now look at ethics, which the examiner noted as relevant but generic. This means not fully developed. So we have to look into that what is the problem, what is there, and what we can ensure to get 6 on 6. The good thing about this, the student correctly identified that there was a covert observation and raises issue of informed consent. So if I'll go back to the document and if you see, the student did talk about that they are share this tab. So if you see, the student did talk about that I will ask consent from the school director before beginning the study. I will make sure the data is anonymized, no names and ages, and comment on the student weight will be recorded. So that's a good sign that student highlighted this. But the problem comes here, that in spite of that they did not took it to another level, means what they will do after that, after the experiment. Are they going to debrief it? Are they going to handle debriefing note? What how they are going to ensure safety and security of participants data? The state that consent and everything is fine, but the problem arises that these things should be addressed. For example, when you take institutional consent versus participant consent, make sure that you should not gatekeep the data. For 6 on 6, the student should propose a debriefing posture or identify notification in cafeteria or somewhere informing student that it was a general observation and the research took place, while reassuring them no data or no personal identifiers were collected. The second thing about it, handling sensitivity, because it is about overeating, it is about body weight and obesity. The student should explicitly state how they will handle sensitive information or how they will ensure that no note taking are taken into or could advertly question or issue related to body shaming or identify specific students. So to summarize, Episode 2 here is 3 steps checklist to guarantee 6 on 6 criteria. Always justify methodology terms, never just say high ecological validity. Explain why it applies to your environment. Second, detailed procedure operationalization that was missing in the study. Explain how observation will maintain inter-rater reliability and measure variable consistently. The third one is go beyond generic ethics. Don't just say data is anonymized, explain gatekeeper consent, post study debriefing, and data security storage. That's wrap up to episode 2. Make sure you hit subscribe my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram and Facebook or YouTube. Thank you.